What is going on, everybody? It's Nathan Payne. We got Corey Royston. How you doing, Corey?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Feel great, man. I'm in Staples right now. I just drove 30 hours to Canada. Finally, I'm through the Canadian border. I'm here. I live
It's a
here
long
now.
ways.
30 hours, man. 3 days. It was a breeze. God, a lot of blessings. God blessed me through my journey, and I'm here now. So, guys, if I don't
Nice.
sound like I'm coming with the heat today or the excitement, I am excited. It's just I think that I got some allergies right now up in Canada. I think the trees got me, but I'm excited. And you right now, everybody
That
that's
was
on here,
that,
you're
that was
watching.
quick.
About the allergies.
Yeah, you just got there and they're already rocking you.
Yeah, I guess so. But everybody who's watching this, this is the Brothers of Christ channel. We are brothers in Christ. Is it Brothers of Christ or Brothers in Christ?
Brothers in Christ. But
Guys, but both are
tomato,
good.
tomato.
Yeah, Brothers in Christ channel, guys. Thanks for supporting us. We're here. We are coming with the Come Follow Me. What are the weeks, Corey? It's August through September.
Good question. I don't remember the weeks, but Helaman 1 through 6. Yeah, August 26th through September 1st.
Man, these are some powerful chapters. You know,
Great chapters.
what I'm noticing with Come Follow Me is they're blasting through these a lot of these chapters quick, and I'm like, man, we got so much to talk about, so much to dive into, which is fine, right? Because they got to get it
Yeah.
within a year. But it's amazing how much amazing stuff is in the scriptures.
I
So
think yeah,
without,
I think they just want to highlight a few of the main things, right? They're not trying
yeah,
to
of course,
they can't write a giant manual, so it
I
just
just
needs to
want to,
be the
yeah,
highlights.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you because we could dive into, we could be in Alma for a whole year if we dove in deep enough, right? Like if just this book of Alma
Yeah.
alone. So, without further ado, Corey, let's dive right in. We want to make sure that this is a value to everybody. Again, the reason why we do this is we love the Lord and we want to share our testimonies with others. We want to share the gospel. And whether you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not, we believe that you can get great things from the Book of Mormon. We know it's true, but we believe it's the Word of God, but we also think that the lessons it teaches are amazing. So, I hope that whoever listens to this can be motivated to read it, whether you remember or not, and pray about it to see if it's true, as I have, and I continue to do always. Corey, what about you before we dive in?
Yeah, just the same. Excited to be here. Excited to discuss these chapters and what we've learned, what we've taken out, and hopefully we can give some cool insights that we see and can that yeah that they can help someone out.
Love it. All right, well, if you're ready, brother, I'm ready. Let's dive in. What do we got for our notes that we want to go through? What do we want to
Yeah.
talk about?
So last time we talked about the like kind of why the war chapters
That's right.
are even included, right?
Yes,
And so
yes,
I think
yes,
we
yes.
wanted to start with a few things that we saw from these chapters about why they might be included, and then a couple other verses that we found that show why we even have these chapters.
Excellent,
So what are your
excellent. Thank you,
thoughts? What
Corey.
are your thoughts that you have on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. So last week you had a really inspired and good question. You asked me, why do I think the war chapters exist in Alma? And I kind of talked about on last week's episode, I believe that they existed to kind of help us see. To be honest, I can't even remember what I said last week because what I have right now is the reason why I really think they're in there. So maybe
Yeah.
my mind's changed. Do you remember what I said? What I thought? Couldn't remember. Can't remember because my
I
mind is
think
so
just to
engulfed.
show, I think it was we came up with to show like the ups and downs of the people, basically like kind of what they talk about in these first six chapters with the pride cycle.
Okay, gotcha.
Just
Yeah,
kind of the ups and downs, like the more in depth of the ups and downs of what the pride cycle does and the consequences of
there you go. Okay,
pride entering into the community and the church, right?
exactly. Yeah. So the reason why I had kind of a brain fog is I've been diving so deep into like who was like causing all these issues, and now like my mind is like so on that. So let me show you guys what I did is I took notes on who are the ones, the dissenters that like caused a lot of these wars. And I believe that, you know, a lot of the reasons why we have these war chapters so specifically like detailed on what's going on is because most of these wars are started from Nephites that had the truth, that had left the Lamanites and caused the Lamanites, who were hard-hearted, right? But they caused them to be even more angry and go up to battle because they kind of got them even more excited, like more excited to go to war and be like fight the Nephites, right? Because a lot of them like didn't want to fight the Nephites a lot of the time because they had just got beat. But the Nephites, the dissenters, were like, "Come on, guys!" And they would
Yeah,
put like their
stirring them up.
stirring them up. It's ridiculous. So I
Get,
wanted to kind
getting
of
them
go through
hyped.
that. Yeah, I wanted to kind of get through that because that goes into Helaman. Because you think like these guys would be stopped, but there's these dissenting Nephites. They're like descending. They're like leaving the Nephites like almost like every 15 chapters. It seems like there's like a group leaving because they're returning wicked. So Corey, does that make sense
Well,
before I dive in? Like what
yeah,
I've been saying? Okay.
yeah. No, and in these chapters, it literally happens all the time. In these first six chapters of Helaman,
This is
they're
ridiculous.
going in and out just nonstop.
So, guys, I'll try to go through this really quick because I did write down the cause of most of the wars in Alma that goes later into Helaman. And again, I'll just double down and say the reason again I think this is happening is because it's caused by a lot of the dissenters, and there were wars way before this, right? But a lot of the times the Lamanites were just coming up to battle because they were mad or something and they wanted to take over. But like the documented like the information that goes really in depth is the wars that we're seeing now are, well, I'll show you right now. They're caused by a lot of the Nephites that have left. Okay, Corey, is that cool if I dive
Okay.
in?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go over it.
So Alma 2, right after Nehor, I think yeah. So Nehor is the chapter 1 of Alma, right? And he's like trying to get everybody. Um, what does Nehor do again? Sorry, man,
He
I'm having a little
introduces
brain fog.
priestcraft.
Okay, yeah. So right after
Right before
Nehor,
that, they had never experienced priestcraft.
yeah, that's right. And then he like attacks. He attacks Gideon. Gideon, I think that's Gideon,
Yeah.
one of King Noah's like warriors. So he attacks him, and they're like, "Hey," Alma's like, "Man, we've never experienced someone that tries to enforce priestcraft through like the sword as well." So
Yeah.
right after Nehor, you'll see that a lot of these dissenters that start the wars, they're of the order of Nehor, which is interesting. Like apparently he had like a belief system that like went through, and a lot of the wicked people like accepted it, right, as like their
Yeah.
religion. Um, so anyway, the reason why I bring him up is right after him in Alma 1, chapter 2, we have I don't know how to say his name correctly, Amlisai or Amlisi, but let's just call him Amlisai, seeks to be king and joins the Lamanites. So in chapter 2, Amlisi or Amlisai, he's like, "Hey guys, I want to be the king." Okay, and then he joins the Lamanites, right? And let's see. And right after that, in Alma 3, Amosai is dead, but they come and fight again. So Amosai is, remember how he fights Alma? And Alma's like, "Hey, Lord,
Yeah.
if you can preserve me from this battle, I will dedicate my life to you." That was like a pretty
Yeah.
sweet portion of it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so that's the first guy. The reason why you got to remember Amosai is because the people that followed him to join the Lamanites, they're pretty prevalent in like like the wars and getting the Lamanites like to want to fight later on. Okay, so then it goes into Alma 16, where the Lamanites go back up to battle because they're stirred up by the Nephites. So again, the Nephites stir them up, the dissenters stir them up. And looks like also that in 16, the Lord, I guess there's some revenge that happens, or like the consequences of the senders come and hit them, because it says that the Lamanites destroy the wicked people in Ammonihah. And the people of Ammonihah are the people who burned the righteous followers that believed in Alma and Amulek's preachings, which I just found that interesting when Alma's preaching. In Amulek, you know the part where the people are getting burned for being followers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Later, the Lamanites go and they come up to battle, they fight, and they just wipe out that whole city. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I guess they got what was coming to them, right? Um, but it
Well, yeah, that whole city was basically dissenters, right?
it was they were all dissenters, yeah.
Dissenters of the church and of the Nephites who, yeah, basically were persecuting and, yeah, destroying the believers of God.
Exactly. So it was like, okay, well, they got what was coming to them, right? Uh, and then Alma 24, the descendants of the priests of Noah, the Amulonites, and the dissenters of the Amalekites, and this is Alma chapter 24, they stir up the Lamanites to anger again against the anti-Nephi Lehites. So when Alma, Ammon, and all the brothers are like preaching the word of God, the most of the people that convert to the anti-Nephi Lehites are Lamanites. I don't think like they say that any of the dissenters converted. And the reason why they went up and started slaying all of the anti-Nephi Lehites is because they were so hard-hearted. They were like, "Hey, let's go take these people out because they're converting." Right? You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that that happens, and then in Alma 28, the Lamanites followed the anti-Nephi Lehites to their land because the anti-Nephi Lehites dipped to Jershon, and the anti-Nephi the Lamanites follow them and they fight in battle again. So a lot of this is happening because like the wicked people are upset because they either dissented and they stirred them up, or they're following the converts and trying to wipe them out. It's insane.
That
Um,
is crazy.
so Alma 43, the next battle we hear about, after the apostate Zoramites expel and cast out the believers, um, they go to the land of Jershon. You remember that, right? So
Yeah.
um, Alma goes on his other mission, gets all the poor, right, that aren't getting let to worship in the synagogues. They go to the land of Jershon, share the land with the Lamanites, and then the Zoramites kick them out. And then after that, they join the Lamanites. So we got the priests of Noah are hanging out with the Lamanites. We got the Amalekites that followed Amlici, and then he died. And then now you have the Zoramites over there. So look at all these
Yeah.
groups of people that are leaving, and they're causing issues. So the wicked Zoramites then become Lamanites along with the other Nephite dissenters. And then you got Zarahemna. Remember Zarahemna with the scalp? He gets his
Yeah.
scalp cut off. He's a leader, and he makes all the captains of the armies Amalekites, the Zoramites, and the dissenters. Because again, we talked about those are the people that are like the most angry, right? They're like
Yeah. Yeah.
believers. So Alma 46, dissension in the church. Amalickiah wants to be king. So this is another dissenter. Amalickiah, he's in 46. He's a Nephite, straight up like a Nephite.
Yeah.
Tries to be
Yeah.
king. Moroni does the title of liberty, and then he gets scared and he dips out to the Lamanites, right? And then through
Yeah.
craftiness, he gets a hold of
Gets
the
in
army.
charge.
He gets in
Yeah.
charge, gets killed. And then his brother Amaron becomes in charge, who's a Nephite, but he's a
Yeah.
dissenter. Then that's when we were talking about last week that Nephi, Captain Moroni, is doing epistles with Amaron. He's like, dude, you know what you did? You're a
Yeah.
child of hell. Like you
Yeah.
need to stop. But Amaron's like, no, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Like you guys stole our land or whatever. They're just mad at each other. And Amaron later dies because Teancum gets him, and then Teancum dies. Um, and then Alma 61, 62, Kingman, and the wickedness keeps going. So they're fighting a bunch of dissenters. Then Kingmen within their own country start rebelling. Pahoran has to freaking dip while he's writing the epistle to Moroni, and Moroni goes and meets up with Pahoran, and then they take out the Kingmen that are trying to meet up with the Lamanites at that time. So it's like it's just a full blown uh, like
Non-stop
exi-
dissension.
nonstop dissension, and the Nephites are just trying to hold it together.
Do
And
you think do you think all this dissension comes from, like, because of priestcraft being introduced?
yeah, so let's go to Alma 24:30. Let's read what that says, and then let's see if I can answer that question, or we can dive a little bit more into it.
Okay, it says, and thus we can plainly discern that after a people have been once enlightened by the Spirit of God, and have had great knowledge of things pertaining to righteousness, and then have fallen away into sin and transgression, they become more hardened, and thus their state becomes worse than though they had never known these things.
There you go. I think that's a good representation of what's going on. Like they had the greater light, right? They had the knowledge, and then they sinned against it. They went against it, and they're just mad, right? And I think
Yeah,
you can see. I was talking to my dad about this on my drive here to Canada. He was saying that like in the beginning when Joseph Smith came out with the Book of Mormon, most of the people that were against it hadn't read it. They were just like Joseph Smith's dumb. That was like their anti. That was like them going against the church. They're like, oh, he's an idiot. But later, when people started joining the church and then left, that's when the persecutions really started getting crazy. I think my dad was saying that one of the former of the 12 apostles at that time that left, he was one of the guys in the mob that had attacked Joseph Smith in Carthage and been a part of that mob. And I was
yeah.
just thinking, like, that guy probably was like getting people riled up that didn't really know Joseph Smith. And he was probably like, oh, I knew Joseph Smith. If you guys don't stop him, he's going to
You
take
know
over.
these things
He's,
he did. He did
yeah,
this, this,
he
this.
did this, like just being offended for some reason, um, you know, can cause just like that happen. Like let's say hypothetically it happened. I'm assuming just like the Zoramites and all these guys that knew the Nephites are like, hey, if you don't stop them, they're going to do this and this. So it just kind of shows you that like people that have had the greater light or the knowledge, they almost come at Joseph Smith and the church even harder than people that have no knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. But I guess why does that like creep in? Why do you think that like creeps in? Because this is what happens once they dissent, right? But
Yeah,
like why do they dissent in the first place?
pride. It's the pride cycle, brother. I think that's it.
Yeah, so I looked up the definition of priestcraft because kind of a weird word, right, that we don't use a lot.
Right.
And it says men preaching and setting themselves up for a light to the world, that they may get gain and praise of the world. They do not seek the welfare of Zion.
Mm,
So I
yes.
think I think it does stem from pride ultimately. And then out of that pride they start teaching basically like their own doctrines, right?
Well, do
And
this
setting
real quick.
themselves above others, right?
If I agree with you 100%. I think this also kind of gives you a reason why. So if you go to Helaman 2:3-4, this is how Gadianton, which we're going to go over in a little bit, took over the band of Kishkumen and made it the Gadianton robbers. Read Helaman 2:3-4. It talks about how what his reasoning was to get all the guys to follow him, the band of Kishkumen.
But behold, Kishkumen, who had murdered Pahoran, did lay wait to destroy Helaman also, and he was upheld by his band, who had entered into a covenant that no one should know his wickedness. For there was one Gadianton who was exceedingly expert in many words, and also in his craft, to carry on the secret work of murder and of robbery. Therefore he became the leader of the band of Kishkumen. Therefore he did flatter them, and also Kishkumen, that if they would place him in the judgment seat, he would grant unto those who belonged to his band that they should be placed in power and authority among the people. Therefore Kishkumen sought to destroy Helaman.
So for me, the thing that sticks out to me is he persuaded them or convinced them. He's like, guys, I will give you power and authority over this people. I think a lot of people do this because they desire the power and authority of the world. They place their hearts on the things, not their treasures on the things of this world, right? Not on the
Yeah,
treasure of God, and that's where their hearts are. That's what I think. Because how else would Gadianton, who's not really in charge at this point, be able to get a hold of these worldly people without promising them worldly pleasures, right?
yeah. It seems like they want to be seen as better than others by others, right? They want to be, yeah, they want to be like in charge. They want power. They want to be placed above others. They want control.
Yeah,
And that,
exactly.
I mean, that's that seems like the tale old as time. Like that seems like kind of what Satan wanted to, right? What Lucifer wanted in the
Exactly.
plan. He wanted God's glory and honor.
He wanted power and
And so
authority.
it's, yeah, it
He didn't
stems back
care.
to that.
He didn't care if it destroyed the agency of man, which is the main reason we're here, is to become like our Father in heaven and learn. He's like, I don't care. I just want to have the power. Um, which is ridiculous, you know. My dad's really into politics, and we've been driving for the last 30 hours together. So you know, we talk about he talked about politics a lot, right? And we
Yeah.
talk about how older I think the older generation really likes politics. Yeah, sorry. So as I was saying, a lot of the politics. My dad's like so convinced. He's like, yo, these people they just want power, right? And they're probably in cahoots together. Republicans, Democrats. I mean, who knows? But like they're all in search of power and money. Like how can you be a public servant and be a multimillionaire? Like how's that work? Like I think they even said
Yeah.
like if you go into politics and you make money, you're like that's corrupt. Like you don't go into public service to be a multimillionaire. So anyway, it just makes you think about like now how are like
Yeah.
why do people go into politics? Do they really care about the nation? Maybe some, but I would assume some get corrupted and they just like maybe they got some secret combinations going on. I'm not a what is it a conspiracy theorist, but you know the fact that
How do you
Kamala
think,
Harris.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
How
Well,
do,
the fact
how
that
do you
she's
think,
in. Go ahead. Go ahead.
how do you think that it applies to us more on like a personal level in our day-to-day lives? Because politics is, yeah, that's a great example, but that's like out there, we don't, you know what I mean? It's not like in our, it applies to us, but it's not necessarily in our like day-to-day interactions, right?
And you're right. We don't want to get off in politics either because this isn't a
But how do
political
you think?
channel.
I'm just curious because how do we apply this principle to like our own lives, like right
You
here,
mean
right now, in our daily
like the pride?
interactions?
You mean the pride cycle, or like falling away, or what do you mean?
Well, it kind of seems like it's all the same thing, right? Like these wars and these dissensions. This is the pride cycle throughout all of this, right?
Yeah. You know,
In
it's
Helaman, in these
interesting.
first 6 chapters, it shows the pride cycle like consistently, consecutively, right? It goes through like many iterations of it and
Hmm.
versions of it back to back to back. But it's happened throughout like all the war chapters. Like that was,
Well, you see it really plain when people prosper. They when they're blessed, then they get prideful, right? They stop taking care of the poor and the needy, and they start lifting themselves above others, and maybe they start to feel more important, and then they want more power, and they want more and more and more, and they start to
yeah,
forget. So how does that apply to us? Well, I think personally, like luckily, not to boast of myself or anything. It's just like for tithing, right? Like tithing is a commandment to keep you humble, in my opinion, to keep you grounded, to know everything you have is not yours; it's from God, right? And you need to give back. But I think as people prosper, maybe it's a little bit more difficult to pay tithing on $10 million than it is $10, right? So I think maybe when these people prosper, it gets a little bit more difficult, and they start, man, maybe I don't need to pay tithing. Maybe I don't need to keep the commandments. I got a boat now. I got a jet ski, and Sunday's my only day off now. Maybe I can just go
got
jet ski a little
distractions. Yeah,
bit. They got you, but you don't really have that when you're poor. You don't have that when you're prospering. You're on your knees praying for rain when there's a famine. But when you got all the food in the world, and you're at the buffet at the Golden Corral, maybe you're like, oh, I'm good. It's Sunday. Let's eat. I don't need to go to church. So I think it's just, how does it apply? When we're blessed, we need to recognize our blessings instead of forget and indulge in, the
yeah.
great things we have.
I think the first step in the pride cycle for us, at least for me, is I become complacent. Like if things are going good, and so I become like comfortable and complacent, and I stop doing like the little things, right? Of like saying
Yeah.
my prayers and being grateful. Maybe I stop, maybe I skip reading, or Yeah, and it's those little things, and then next thing you know, it's been weeks since I've read or something, and yeah, I'm not like I haven't like fallen away or really truly dissented, but my
Right.
heart's not in it at that moment, right? Because I'm not doing the little things to show God that I love Him.
Yeah, we learn line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. That's the way we learn, right? That's the way we progress to get closer to God. So I think it's the same way, line upon line, precept, like little by little, you can fall away too, right? So you got to stay
Yeah,
consistently keeping close to God, or you're consistently falling away. Unfortunately, if you're not if you're just staying still, you're falling away. Like if you're not doing anything, it's not like you're getting closer. You're actually it's
yeah,
degressing, right? Um,
yeah.
so so I would say that
I
that's my
think,
thought behind it.
yeah, I think to go on that, I think even just going through the motions, right?
Hmm.
But if your heart's not in it, like we've all said prayers where like you're like in the prayer and you're not really thinking about what you're saying, your heart's not in it. You're just
Yeah.
kind of going through the motions, right? Or you're reading your scriptures, but you're thinking about something else, right? Like you're thinking about
Right. Right.
work or the fun activity you're going to do. I even think that is like a step towards, it's a step in the wrong direction, right? Like when your
Hmm.
heart's not in it,
It's intent. The
it's,
intent is what
yeah,
matters. It's
yeah,
really interesting. I was listening to this talk by Bednar. I think he spoke at Ensign College, and they were like, "Hey, Bednar, how do you have a balanced life?" He's like, "I don't. I'm not balanced." He's like, when I'm at church, I'm at church. I'm present. When I'm here with you guys,
yeah,
I'm here. I'm not thinking about my golf game, or I'm not thinking about being balanced in, something else in my life. Like, and that's the thing is like you gotta be, your intent has to be there. You have to be present. And anyway, I just thought that was interesting. That kind of related because
yeah,
a
like
lot of
being
people
in a
they
present
want,
moment.
yeah, a lot of people want that balance, right? They want to like, oh, I don't want to be too
Yeah.
much over here, over there.
I think I
You
heard that
gotta,
same talk.
yeah, you gotta be anxiously engaged in the work, like, um,
Yeah,
and
like when you're
it,
at home, be at home, right? With the kids. When you're
right,
at work, be at work.
exactly. And it's just interesting. I think about Jesus Christ and his disciples, right? Like the 12 apostles. Like a lot of people, are like, oh, you don't want to be like a fanatic or like too anxiously engaged or too much into the. But it's like, do you think anyone thought those guys were like balanced? The apostles. No, they were following Jesus. They left everything behind. They were weird to people. Like we're weird to
Yeah,
people. We're talking about Jesus. I'm in Staples. And people are hearing me, and they got it. I'm saying amlissy, and the guy's like, it's amlissy. I'm like, are you a member of the church? I don't know. I'm probably gonna go talk to him after. I haven't seen him at the branch here, but maybe he
it's
needs to
funny.
come back. Who knows? So anyway, like we're weird, right? We're
Yeah.
different. Um, but this
I
will
mean, balance is just a weird thing in general, right? Like what does balance even mean? It's different to everyone.
right,
And so it's really more about like your priorities and what you're focusing on, like in each moment, right?
right,
You need to be focused on what your priority is in that moment.
yeah,
I
love it.
think I like this verse in Helaman 3. It kind of talks
Okay.
about how the pride creeps in, and it says in verse 33, and in the 51st year of the reign of the judges, there was peace also, save it were the pride which began to enter into the church, not into the church of God, but into the hearts of the people who professed to belong to the church of God. And so I just found that pretty interesting. Like it's not
Not the
like
church.
as soon as the pride enters your heart, like it's almost like you're out of the church. You know what I mean? Not like
Yeah,
no, they don't excommunicate you or you don't like get kicked out, but like you're not in like the community of Christ, right? The community of
they.
God, like his people, right?
It's like they separated it. Will you read that again? I want to hear the separation.
So it says, pride which began to enter into the church, not into the church of God, but into the hearts of the people who profess to belong to the church of God.
Who professed. So that's almost like who said, who say they're
Yeah.
members.
Or like
We talked.
say like, or it could be like with this priestcraft thing, like with Korihor, right? Like he taught as like if like he had the true doctrines of God, right? He had the true church of God, right?
Mhm.
So it could even be that.
Well, it makes me think of like we've talked about this a lot with Adam and Eve, and I was talking to my dad about it, and even Elder Corbridge's talk was talking about what's the real sin? Like, what's the worst thing you really do? It's you separate yourself from God, right? You separate yourself
Yeah.
from God, and I kind of saw the same thing with Adam and Eve, right? The real sin was it partaking of the fruit that was like the transgression, but the real sin was when they hid themselves. And it almost
Yeah.
seems like in there we have got a guy Staples guy
Price check.
checking it, and he's probably like, "Hey man, get the heck out of the chair." Say, hey, I'm preaching the word, brother. Uh,
I'm still
so
testing the chair. Hold
I'm
on.
still testing the chair. But it almost seems like the separation, right? Like I'm talking about, like that's the sin, right? When you separate yourself from God, when Adam
Yeah.
and Eve hid, they separate themselves. It almost seems like these people, from what you just read, they're separating themselves from the church of God, right? That's at least what I heard when you read it. That's why I wanted you to read it again. I was
Yeah.
like, it sounds like there's a separation between the church of God and the people who
Yeah.
profess to be a part of it.
It seems like when pride enters into our hearts, that's kind of when we are like, yeah, we're like separating and hiding ourselves from God, right? We're less focused on him and our relationship with him, and we're focused on like what we want and like, yeah, essentially what we want.
Yeah, heard this talk on Sunday before I left my last day in the Word, and this guy said, I don't know if I agree 100%, but I want to get your opinion on it. He said that God never uses the word proud in the scriptures. Like, I'm proud of my son Jesus Christ, like in whom I'm well pleased. He says, in whom I am well pleased, but he never
Yeah.
says I'm proud. So I was like, because you don't really see that, because we say it's okay to be proud of something, which I think is, I would
Yeah.
say that's fine, but it hasn't been used in the scriptures. I don't know if that vocabulary or that language was like type of language is used back in the day, but I just found it an interesting perspective that he said that the word pride isn't used for good or
Yeah.
proud in the scriptures. Maybe it's not a good
Yeah.
thing. I don't know.
I think it's really just comes down to the intent that you have when you use it, right? Like proud, I think if you break down what it means, like you're
Well pleased. You could
basically
say
like
I'm well pleased.
well
Yeah.
pleased, happy for your kid.
Hmm.
So like I think that's like a semantic thing that probably is not that important yet. Because I mean, the language they used back then maybe it just didn't translate. But if you
Right.
mean
Right.
proud as like I'm pleased with my kid or I'm happy that they're doing good or like obviously there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing.
So, so Corey, let's break down. Let's get into Helaman now. We talked really. I feel like this has been a great episode or whatever, or of us talking. And but you want to dive into like what's going on
Yeah,
in
I mean
Helaman one?
we barely have even started to scratch the surface into
This,
Helaman yet.
that's what I'm saying. Man. This is beautiful.
We haven't even gotten started on Helaman really.
Yeah, like mad love and respect for Joseph Smith. We know he translated the Book of Mormon, but for the haters, if you don't believe he did, look how deep we can go for a couple of verses.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
so let's start. You want to explain what's going on in Helaman one, and then I'll kind of give my take on why I started off this episode with talking about the dissenters, because you see that the dissenters, their actions or their descendants come in and start giving problems after there's a little bit of issues in the government in Helaman.
yeah, so Helaman starts out by like it continues the story of like Pahoran and the Nephites and the judgment seat and Pahoran. I think I don't remember if he dies in this chapter or in the last chapter of Alma, but
Right.
his son Pahoran the second is chosen to take the judgment seat, and he gets murdered by Kishkumen. And then his next son
But
Pakumeni
tell
takes the
but
judgment
tell
seat.
him why he was murdered. Tell everybody why he was murdered.
Well,
because
because
other people
yeah,
wanted his brother to be in charge.
well, yeah, Kishkumen, um, yeah, basically wanted. Well, I don't know. Did Kishkumen want his brother to be in charge, or did Kishkumen want?
I think at this point, from what I understood is, if you go to the beginning of the chapter, I think one of the brothers, I think it's Pacumeni or something. He was like, he
Yeah,
just stood down. He was like, okay, I'm cool, like you
yeah,
can have it. But the other one was like, nah, like I want it. And that's when he got together with Kishkumen and these bad guys, made a pact, and then that's when Kishkumen killed him. And then they found out that
you talking
there was
about
like this
Panchi?
Panky or whatever,
Panchi.
Panchi. I feel like him and Kishkumen and these guys that got together, they found Kishkumen dipped out because he ran faster than like Usain Bolt out of
Usain
there after he
Bolt.
he bolted out of there. But I think they found out that he was in cahoots with like the brother and another, and I think they were put to death. Is that right, or am I off? I think that's
I
I
honestly
think
don't
that's
remember exactly.
I think that's the case. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I don't remember exactly, but either way, um, everyone's dying on the judgment seat. Basically, it's a bad seat to be in,
where I'm not trying to be
and
on the judgment seat even for a second.
especially in this time, and it keeps going in later chapters too.
Shoot.
So yeah,
So
it gets crazy. And
the
so yeah,
horn
then the Gadian
dies.
robbers
Yeah.
form. The
Yep.
Gadian robbers get formed, and lots of there's lots of the pride cycle going on, dissensions and pride entering the church, and we eventually get to Nephi and Lehi preaching the word and calling
I
people to
love.
repentance, and yeah,
So so
it's one of the
yeah,
best
such a good.
chapters.
Oh, I love it. So let's go back to one because chapter one in Helaman, I had some pretty interesting takes. So first, for Helaman number one, 15 through 17 is. Do you want to read those chapters, Corey? 15 through 17.
Yeah, and they came down again that they might pitch. You're talking about Helaman 1, right?
Yeah, Helaman 1, 15 through
Yeah.
17.
That they might pitch battle against the Nephites, and they were led by a man whose name was Coriantumr, and he was a descendant of Zarahemla, and he was a dissenter from among the Nephites, and he was a large and a mighty man. Therefore the king of the Lamanites, whose name was Tubaloth, who was the son of Amaron, supposing that Coriantumr, being a mighty man, could stand against the Nephites with his strength and also with his great wisdom, insomuch that by sending him forth he should gain power over the Nephites. Therefore he did stir them up to anger, and he did gather together his armies, and he did appoint Coriantumr to be their leader, and did cause that they should march down to the land of Zarahemla to battle against the Nephites.
Oh, you're getting me fired up right now. So after the government,
Another
there's
dissenter,
issues,
huh?
and bring them on. There's more. So right after, there's this insurrection or these issues with the government. Horn's getting stabbed in the judgment seat. The brothers are having problems. Then these dissenters who are in the land of the Lamanites. One is Coriantumr, right? He's a dissenter. He came from the descendants of Zarahemla, so he used to be a Nephite. He's giant. He's strong. He's over there hanging with the Lamanites, getting them all angry. Tubalot, who's the son of Amaron, who was the brother of Amalekiah, who was the guy who took over the kingdom of the Lamanites through treachery, was a Nephite. So these two guys, dissenters, are like, all right, it's time to go to war again. Let's get everybody excited. So they get the Lamanites upset. Again, two Nephite dissenters do it. While there's issues in the government with the Nephites because of wickedness, I would say. Um, they go directly and attack Zarahemla and take everybody out because no one's ready for them, and because they suppose that they would attack like the outskirts like they usually do. But this guy
Yeah,
Coriantumr goes straight for the neck, goes straight to
right through the
Zarahemla,
middle.
takes over, straight through the middle, takes him out. And why is this opening available? Why is it open? It's because wickedness, right? So he goes through.
Yeah,
So that just fires me up. And again, I think we see so much of like the Book of Mormon. is an abridged book of ancient records, right? So and Mormon took what they could out of these books. I'm sure there's way more wars. I'm sure there's way more issues. But why are they giving us so much knowledge and so much information according to these dissenters? Well, maybe it's going to happen a lot more as we continue to go. Like people are going to leave the church. They're going to create problems for the church. They're going to lead people against. I don't know, but it's a common theme we're seeing a lot, and it's a major issue that they're having the Nephites is with these dissenters, and it's just blowing my mind right now. So anyway, Coriantumr takes
Yeah.
we were talking about this before. He goes to Zarahemla, beats everybody up, and then he gets excited. He's like gets overzealous, and he's like, guys, let's keep going up north, because the way that the Nephites had the
Yeah.
land,
Just
the Nephites
seems
had
like
all
it's
the
just
north.
his. It seems like it was just his hunger and thirst for more power. Because we thought he might be just this big brute that was kind of dumb, but it says with his strength and also with his great wisdom. So he wasn't
I wasn't
just
an
some
idiot.
dummy.
And I
Yeah, he
thought like
wasn't
he
just
might
some
have been
big.
just some brute, just like wanted to fight
Yeah,
everybody, but no, he. So what had happened, as you know, is the Nephites covered all the north, right, and then the Lamanites had the south and everything below, and so the Nephites had the top north part, and I think what happened is they wanted to just punch a hole maybe through the north so they could start settling up north instead of just being at the south, right. So anyway, Coriantumr gets excited, keeps going, and busts through like he can't be stopped. And then you can see that as you know, my affinity for Lehi and Hillman 128:33. You want to read 128?
but when Moronihah had discovered this, he immediately sent forth Lehi with an army round about to head them before they should come to the land bountiful. And thus he did, and he did head them before they came to the land bountiful, and gave unto them battle, insomuch that they began to retreat backwards towards the land of Zarahemla.
Bro, you can always count on Lehi and his boys coming in clutch. He's the
Yeah,
OG.
so
So they send him. He takes them out, beats them up. So they retreat, and now they're retreating. Moronihah and his guys, they're coming from the rear, so they circle them, right? And
yeah, they
yeah,
basically
so
surround them, right, and
and
defeat
they
them.
said it was in an exceedingly. I think they said the battle was exceedingly sore, so you can
Yeah,
imagine it got pretty intense. Um, yeah,
it's
so
definitely a
it's
battle you don't want to be in, an exceedingly
no.
sore one.
And man, the Nephites just keep doing this over and over again. They let if you read 28 through 33, they let them go in peace. They're just like they stop fighting and they say, okay, you can go if you
Yeah,
leave in peace.
after the Nephites win, or like Moronihah and Lehi win, they let them go, right?
So what I'm seeing is it might be possible that like when they let these people go in peace and they make a pact, that the leaders who make that pact are like, I can't go to war because this is Tubaloth, the son of Amaron, who got defeated, right? So maybe he's like, well, I wasn't there. I can fight now. Like maybe kind of like the anti-Nephi Lehites, the stripling warriors. Are like, I didn't make the covenant. I can fight. It just seems like they let him go in peace and then they come back, but it might just be like the next generation that's fired up.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway,
Um,
so that's chapter one. I just like to go into that, Corey, just because it's again we see more of the dissenters, we see more of the issues of the government. Like this, the Book of Mormon is for our time. It's to show us that like what's happening is going to happen again. Like this is a quote about history. It says the most important thing we learn from history is that we never learn very much. And that's why we have to read so much to remember history because we don't really remember. We don't really learn that
yeah,
much. Like this is probably going to happen again. We're probably going to have some issues in America where we're all fighting about like something and like Republicans versus Democrats, and then maybe some other countries. Yeah, so I was just saying that nobody wants to leave me alone, bro. I got my wife calling me. I got
yeah.
the
That
got
do not
Canadian
disturb.
Tire all over me. Anyway, love
Um,
it, dude. I love the scriptures.
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think that is already like it's not gonna happen. It's already happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's definitely, and it's not even just like a political thing. It's like in our everyday, goes way deeper than politics, right?
Right.
It's in our everyday interactions with everyone around us. Let's
Corey,
touch on a couple
we
more
might need
things real quick.
we can or we might need to break this up into two episodes, bro. This is
Yeah,
good.
maybe. I'm
What
down to
else
do
do you
that.
want to what else do you want to hit on? Because we're at 46 and still good stuff to come. Hopefully this has
Yeah,
been good. I'm sorry if I'm a little scatterbrained. I just have so much going on right
sitting
now.
in the, yeah, you're sitting in the Staples.
Got people staring at me like, you gonna buy that chair or
Good,
not, bro?
good thing about Staples is probably not too busy, huh?
I don't know, man. Canadian Staples is off the chain right now.
Is it packed?
Nah. A lot of people looking at chairs where I'm sitting for some reason. They're like, that specific chair you're sitting in,
So
it
yeah, I
looks
picked the
nice.
best one. It's mine. Back up.
Anyway, yeah, you want to break
Um,
this down into two because this is good. This has been
yeah, I
good.
mean, we could do
Really, we've just hit on one and
probably do
two,
a whole
chapter
thing
two.
on yeah, we could probably do a whole thing on chapter 5.
I think so. Let's do that because I got to roll. Get my Canadian Tire, get my car
Yeah.
from Canadian Tire. But yeah, let's. Yeah, Corey, you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, just beware of pride. Seems like it creeps in everywhere. You need to be
Man,
watchful and very aware of what's going on. Don't let it
bro,
creep in.
I would say so. I have a little self reflection thing that I do in my planner every day. I would say I have to check myself daily for pride, daily, because I think a lot of things come to my head where I'm like, I think I'm better than someone. I think I'm smarter than someone. I think something happens where I'm like, oh, that guy doesn't know. Like
Or
I'm in
someone does
Canada.
something dumb or
Yeah, like it's a daily check. Like I'm in Canada. I'm like, oh man, these Canadians, they don't know about America. It's just stupid stuff like that. You know, um,
well, you're right, right? No, I'm just kidding.
America, baby.
Uh,
Dude, Canada, man, they're so nice here. They're so kind. They
dude,
they ain't got the pride here.
when I was in the MTC, this kid or the mission president MTC so I went to the Buenos Aires MTC, right? I
Hmm.
didn't go to the Provo one. And so the mission president, it was only like 70
Hey,
people in the
wait, you
MTC.
said you didn't go to the Provo one, right?
Yeah, I didn't go to Provo.
So, so you think you're better than me? I went to
But
the Provo one.
he got up and he made like for like 30 minutes straight, he made like all these jokes about America from a Canadian perspective.
Hmm.
And after he was done, one of the kids got up and started singing "I'm proud to be an American," and just yeah, it was
Man.
just funny.
Well, Americans are pride. There's a lot of pride in America. I
A
mean,
lot of pride.
we even said the song is titled "Proud to Be an American." Come on,
Some probably good and some bad, right?
right? Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Dude, the thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is like national pride in your country. I think it's fine, but it can go a little further because it's like, so you're proud that you were born within this fake imaginary border that like just happens to be where you were born in this life. Like we're all children of
Yeah,
God.
probably
Like
not. Probably shouldn't be proud. Should probably just be grateful. You're
be
born in a place
grateful,
where there's freedom and all that, right?
right? Because I think a lot of people that like they're like when we say, oh, we don't want illegal immigrants in our country, or people say that, it's like that could come off like, hey, you guys, like, you just got lucky. You got lucky living there. It's like, we did get lucky. We were blessed and we're so grateful. But I understand why people want to, like, they don't think that's fair. They don't want to live here. So, yeah, I think you have to be aware of pride. Um, it's not like me and you are any better than anyone else living in the world. We got lucky, bro. We really did. I mean,
Yeah,
I wasn't born in Madagascar picking fruit, living in a tree hut. Like that's I got lucky.
yeah. I mean, I think life. I mean, it's not about where you're born. Like it's about loving others and building relationships with others, and that can happen in a mansion or in a hut or anywhere, right? Doesn't matter where you're from, where you're born.
Yeah, and I will say this, that like when I say we got lucky, well, you got to kind of look at it from an eternal perspective. Maybe someone that's born in another place has like a different path of loving others. Like maybe they don't struggle with like materialism like we would, right?
Yeah.
And if we lived in there, like we're closer to family, we care more about other things. That was actually a reason why I wanted to move to Canada. It's like I'm in a kind of a rural place compared to where I live in Salt Lake City. It's just different. The priorities are different here. Like where I was living in Salt Lake, everybody wanted to drive the nice cars. It was like keeping up with the Joneses. Not everybody, but it was just kind of a vibe I was getting. Like materialism was important, like stuff. It's not important to me. I want to kind of live in a place that's like doesn't put that much emphasis. And where I'm at right now, I kind of feel like that's b- different, right? There's pros and cons, but that's just like a little
Yeah.
different than where I was.
Nice.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Cool.
All right, brother.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
thanks everyone for tuning in.
yeah. You just
Hopefully you caught some stuff that can build your faith in Christ.
and remember, our viewpoints are not viewpoints from the Church. We do not represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We're members, but don't just because we believe something doesn't mean like this is like everybody's belief. Um,
You know, we're just sharing our thoughts and interpretations of the
so don't
scriptures.
Yeah, so don't get mad at the church. If you're gonna get mad, tell us for our beliefs. But anyway, that's it's always a great time with you, Corey. I always enjoy it. Like you said, hope this has touched the hearts of somebody. And guys, we love
Yeah, we'll
feedback
do.
too. You know, if there's a different format or if there's something that you liked or didn't like, let us know. We'll try to remain humble and not prideful and take your critiques um, and to get
Yeah,
better.
no, we appreciate any feedback.
All
Any
right,
feedback
peace.
you got for us. All right,
Later,
see ya.
everybody.